Welcome to the first episode of the Season 10 Victini News. We are back from the hiatus with a new name, a new format, and much more. Currently, the actual logo for the Victini division is still under construction, so we asked Anon Victini to give us a placeholder, and that's what you see right now. In the future, the VDL will now be known as the MBA. Due to the fact that the logo is not out yet, we're still using old textures, like you see on the bottom left with the VDL. This will all change in the upcoming weeks as soon as the new logo is out. As always, with a new format, make sure that when you go on Showdown, you use Champions Draft to get the current movesets and the current stats, as they have changed a little bit. And when you challenge somebody, choose Item Clause. This is to prevent people from running double leftovers and other items, as Champions does not allow that. Our mod division for this season is going to be, as you all know, me as the division leader. I'm Cuban. Then our returning Victini News artist Tina. And the two new faces of the Victini mod division is MBA's resident cook and pilk enjoyer Starry. Starry has been a long time Shaman moderator, so a lot of coaches who have played Shaman last season will know him. I know him as the guy that gives me PTSD every time I have to face him. And for the worst part, I have to play him every season. Other than this season, because I ran away to Menifee. And of course, our newest MBA moderator is Mev Juma. He's been super active with the doc and I think also really helpful during the drafting process. He is British and he, funny enough, had the same dramatic experience involving a Blossom as I had. So we're already sharing something in that regard. But enough yapping. You all came here for the Victini Power Ranking Season 10. So without further ado, let's start.
Starting our power ranking, we have Racket Man and his Munching Munchlax. He's a returning coach from a few seasons ago and now ready to fight again. As first pick, he went for Mega Greninja and combined that with a Caladon and a Politoed to have a decent range synergy. I also really like the Hatterene pickup, since there's no boots in Champions and Magic Bonds will be an easy way to prevent hazards from going up. For his own team, he also has Mamoswine, which I would assume is the main Stealth Rocker, and the Decidueye as the main remover thanks to Defog. Some potential issues I see for this team is a strong Steel fighting type like Lucario, who can outspeed a large chunk of Racketman's Pokémons, while also hitting them with super effective moves, especially with fighting priority for the more frail Greninja, which would otherwise outspeed it. Additionally, while Talonflame has Defog, with no boots, it's never really worth bringing Talonflame as a hazard removal for Stealth Rocks. Overall, this team has ways to deal with the issues mentioned, but only with Greninja as sweeper and Mamoswine and Caladon as real breakers who aren't even that fast, I could see this team struggle to get decisive victories, especially if those mentioned get killed early. Thus, we have decided to rank it in the B tier. Our second coach is Pandemonium and his Scarlet Knights. It is now his third season in Victini, and you know how the saying goes, all good things are free. The team has a very good speed tier, with 6 Mons over 100 speed. Starmie is also a very fast rapid spinner, who could use the additional speed to continue to dish out damage afterwards, while Ninetales Alola provides the ability to get up Aurora Veil. This team has two good defensive mons in Guja and Umbreon, while having heavy hitters in Zalazzle and Floette. Some issues are the lack of hazards, though Aerodactyl is pretty fast and Totara is pretty bulky for the rocks. Additionally, there's a gaping hole between 102 speed and 65 speed. This gives his opponent the ability to run neutral natures instead of high speed natures. It also lacks on the physical side, with Totara being the mon with the highest attack stat, so his opponent can run light screen and ice coverage to have a pretty good position already. This team has some strong points with the Aurora Veil and its speed, while also having a really strong special side, but also a glaring weakness on the physical side. Thus, we have ranked it on the B tier. The third coach is Blind Zero with his St. Louis White Cardinals. It's gonna be his first season in the NBA, and I like the way he started his draft. Delphox Mega, King Gambit, Glow King, and Conkeldurr are really good 4-man core, giving him a fast sweeper and a potential combination of Trick Room to clean up. Another big thing is the fact that he has access to webs thanks to Slurpuff, who can help the rather mediocre speed tier a lot. Ditto is always a great mon just to have on the sheet, even if it's just there to annoy the opponent during preps. And Prankster Meowstic can probably do well as well, giving him more support. Though only really having 4 strong mons means that he is forced to play around them to support their needs. The team has basically no hazards, so the defog and conk actually isn't that bad if this team didn't have webs. A strong flying type with close combat can easily threaten a large amount of this team. I think the team could do well, but it needs some really good prep to fully work by using the 6 mons to balance out the team for his opponent. But I am not fully sold on the Feral Alligator or on the Leafeon yet. And because of these reasons, we have decided to rank it in the B tier. Coach number 4 is DJ, with his Bob's Bishops. He played in Shaman last season, and with Shaman going on vacation, he will be joining us at Victini. Right away, he went for a first pick staple in Dragapult, who is the fastest non-Mega on the board. Additionally, the combination of Mega Excadrill and Tita gives him a strong 3-man core already. For defensive options, he has Toxapex and Mega Clefable, which are both very reliable walls. Both of his Megas also don't need to Mega, so that is a huge win as well, not having to leave one Mega at home or being weaker because you couldn't Mega it. Orthworm here can provide a strong immunity to the ground weakness this team has while setting up hazards. The biggest issue, in my opinion, is that we clearly have 5 superior mons who kind of just outclass the other 5. So there's a chance that his team might become predictable. The speed tier is okay, not the best, but not the worst. Overall though, this team covers each other's weaknesses incredibly well, and thus we have decided to rank it in the A tier. For number 5, we have the Mew Mod Division leader, Roki, and his Twilight Absols. Roki has a reputation to build his teams differently, but always with a plan. And we can see that right here, as he drafted a strong Trick Room team with 2 fast sweeper options in Mimikyu and Mega Skarmory. This team has very good balance of special and physical attackers and walls, and with a large chunk of these walls having recovery moves that will be very annoying to break. This team does lack hazard removal, only having defog on Altaria, and a low amount of pivoting with 2 slow pivots and, well, Incineroar with Parting Shot. Thanks to the low average speed of this team, the main job most mons will have is to slowly whittle down the opponent so losing the sweepers early could be a nightmare for Roki. But overall, this team is very strong. Even the walls can hit hard and then recover any damage taken. The game plan is obvious for the opponent from the start, but denying it will be another thing. Because of that, we have ranked this team into the A tier. Coach number 6 is Mike with his Georgia Drillers. Another former Shaman coach now joining us for Victini. The Sand Core with Sandaconda, Excadrill, and Tyrantrum makes for a very strong combination. Adding the special attackers in Volcarona and Mega Alakazam, and this team looks incredibly strong. Whimsicott and Rotom Wash are solid support Pokemons, while Pangoro and Kangaskhan could work as bulky mons. A slow parting shot from Pangoro sounds like a prime way to get one of the other Pokemons set up. The biggest weakness on this team is that the special side has very obvious and huge weaknesses. Sucker Punch, Poison Moves, and Stealth Rocks can easily put a huge dent into the special offensive side of the Pokemons. And if the opponent has a physical wall in the back, it could get very troublesome. Rotom Wash will be a pivotal Pokemon in every single fight for Mike. This team honestly looks like a solid top contender. It is well built and has some decent speed and synergies. There's always the potential that if it gets a good round or a good setup up, that it just wins the game. And thus, we have ranked this team in the A tier. Team 7 is the Red Barons with their coach, Baron. Another new coach ready to show us what he can do. This team has some strong and solid individual Pokemons in Garchomp, Scizor, Primarina, Rotom Heat, Mega Frostlass, and Venusaur. All of these can be considered strong picks for the role that they usually fit in. The team has some hazards with Garchomps providing both spikes and rocks that might force Baron to either run a more hazard focused Garchomp or bring Lycanroc to set up rocks. Both Scizor and Hawlucha are decent defoggers for the removal, but the hazards is probably not this team's plan. In former seasons, we saw some people have the same approach. A lot of individual strong Pokemons who don't really have real synergy with each other, and oftentimes these teams didn't rank well. Considering how good the main individual mons are, they might be compromised with specific movesets. Like I said, the defog on Scizor, or the hazards on Garchomp, or even Mega Frostlass. Houndoom seems like a throwaway pick here, as Rotom Heat is usually better in most cases. The team itself can be one of the strongest. If the individual class can stick, or Baron can find a way to make them all work with each other. And this is one scary team. Frostlass Mega can do some insane damage with Blizzards and her high speed. But due to our experience in former seasons, we have decided to rank this team in the B tier. Next is Viking with his Oslo Okidogis. He has turned into a main staple in Victini with consistent seasons, and he's back to show it. This team is a monster on the defensive side. Corviknight, Runigiris, Dragonite, Bellibolt. All of these are incredibly hard to break walls. Adding the power of Delphox, Meowscarada, and Mega Glimmora makes this team really strong. It has great hazard options, a lot of removal, and access to sticky webs to help the already pretty fast team even more. The one issue this team has is that Mega Glimmora doesn't really want to rapid spin to get rid of enemy hazards. So the only other option is Defog on Corviknight, which will remove his own hazards, and with a hazard heavy team as this is, that for me is a weakness. this team is incredibly good, which makes some of the other Pokémons questionable if they are brought. Overall, this is probably the strongest team in this division. It might not win every fight, but I see this one go far into playoffs. To show how confident we are, we have ranked this team in the S tier. For coach number 9, we have Mev Juma and the Belfast Graphians, our very own Victini moderator, ready to show how it's done. He has drafted a very strong region core with Slowbro and Hydrapple, while also having strong defensive mons in Skarmory and Mudsdale. Sableye can be one of the more annoying support Pokémons to remove, thanks to its access to screens and Prankster. Typhlosion and Zoroark are also happy here, as they are the only ones who would want the Scarf. And the hazard options are decent with setters like Skarmory and removers like Blastoise. The big weakness, in my opinion, in this team is that a strong special defensive wall with Reflect Up will be hard or nearly impossible to break. While he has some mons with decent special power, none of these can truly be considered breakers, and they are very frail. So if they are gone, the rest of the team might struggle to do damage. The team itself is still very solid and can easily help to set up a late game sweep with Mega Lopunny, which is what I would usually want to do. Unless Blastoise runs Shell Smash for the special side, it could be a bit troublesome, but otherwise, this team looks strong and solid. And thus, we have decided to rank it in the A tier. Coach number 10 is a NBA legend, Wolf. People said that he would never make it out of Shaman, but here he is in Victini. He went for a similar approach as Roki, going for Trick Room and having a strong and fast sweeper in the back in Palafin Hero. Though Trick Room is harder to pull off in singles with Farigiraf and Spiritomb, he has two very strong options to set up his Torkoal or Snorlax, who can then switch in after a Baton Pass or even a Memento. Chimecho Mega will be a very hard Pokemon to break as well, and it can set up Trick Room for itself, so it can start dishing out massive damage, even potentially using Calm Mind to make sure its survivability is even higher. Palafin Hero also has a few fallback options to get his transformation done as well. And finally, with Glimmora, there is a great hazard setter. I think the biggest issue on this team is the obvious struggle that is Trick Room in singles. 4 turns is often not a lot and needs some solid planning around it. This might make this team slower to do damage or to react, which can quickly turn into an issue if played against a hyper-offensive team. Overall though, I like this team. It has really good Trick Room abusers, and Palafin can often win games alone at the end. Como is a very underrated but strong Pokemon that can take over games alone as well, especially if it's not prepped well for. I am super excited to see him play this season, and due to this, we have ranked him in the A tier. Our coach number 11 is Grixie with his title Town Tarantrums. Last season was rough, but he has learned from the best, Chomama, and is ready to sweep through the league for a title run. And he is bringing a team with a good and balanced speed curve, double intimidates against physical threats, and good hazard setting with Gliscor. He also has plenty of removal options with a Spinner and 2 Defoggers. Gengar and Greninja will have to do some heavy lifting for late game sweeps, but Mega Scizor can provide a lot of damage throughout the game. Clefable with Unaware does block the Defiant competitive boosts, Intimidates could potentially give. I still think that without Toxicorp and Battle Bond, this team is a lot weaker than what it could be. Competitive and defined users could very well still abuse the double intimidate to get some free boosts. And when Greninja and Gengar are gone, this team could struggle to finish fights. My thoughts were to rank it higher, but there's something weird about this team. Maybe I'm just completely mistaken and it will indeed win the whole league, but something tells me that there's a weakness to be found in the later weeks which could break this team. And due to that, we have decided to rank this team in the B tier. Going from one Victini veteran to the next, we got CB Thrice with the New York Low Kicks. I think Cleaver has found a niche meta where he can be even better than what people think due to the fact that boots don't exist. With Sash or Scarf, he can easily set up rocks and do some decent damage early to bring his team into a strong position. This team has a lot of hazard options, but only real removal with Cleaver and Defog. The one who usually wants to set up hazards. It has a decent Water, Grass, Fire core and Fairy, Dragon, Steel core. This is where most of the positives stop. Sadly, this team is not very fast besides Superior and Infernape, and lacks speed control. Relying on Tailwind is a possibility, but feels rough. The team has a lot of Scarf users and no real sweeper. So yeah, sadly for me, this team feels a bit mediocre. None of these mons are really the best in their position, and it could turn every game into a 1-for-1 trading game. And because of this, we have decided to rank it in the C tier. Coming from Jirachi, our coach number 13 is Nightor, with his Death Valley Houndooms. Last season, he got first with his Yamega on the Kill Leader and Bounty Hunter board. Maybe he will do it again. His team has a really strong defensive profile, some really strong attackers, and with Rhyperior and Tinkaton, some solid hazard setters. Quaquaval can go wild in games with Rapid Spin and Moxie, and the defensive side is solid as well. Mega Venusaur, Dragonite, and Tinkaton are all solid Pokemons who can set up the sweepers in Nightor's team. Having only 2 mons with rocks and no other hazards could invite his opponent to bring Focus Sashes. While his own team doesn't really like rocks either, they can easily do a large amount of damage to his frail offensive mons. But overall, this team is very strong, with good balance between offense and defense, with sweepers ready to end games. And while Manectric really wants the Mega, Venusaur does not need to rely on it, and can provide the opportunity to run both mons in the same fight. I see a lot of potential in this team, and thus we have ranked it in the A tier. 3 more coaches to go, and here we have Dacomig Gage and his NC Noble Roar. Last season, he showed that he belongs in Victini, making playoffs, so we are curious to see how he will do this season. He started his own draft with 2 very solid choices. The Mega Meganium can be considered one of the best new Megas available, and Sneasler has always been one if not the best singles sweeper. He added some solid defensive power in Empoleon, Goodra, Milotic and Garganacl. Though while his hazard setting is great with the 3 options, his removal is rather rough with just Mousehold and Tidy Up. But without Rocky Helmet, the population bombs could become a massive issue for the opponent. This does lead me to the issue for this team. This team only has Sneasler as a real physical threat, if there is a Ghost or Steel type for Mousehold. If Sneasler is gone, this team might struggle to break through if the opponent is a specially defensive water Pokemon. And while Tidy Up is a good way to clear hazards, Mousehold is not the bulkiest mon and it can be easily taken out. I do think that the first 2 picks should easily carry their own weight on this team. The rest might be a bit too passive or low on damage, but oftentimes you only really need 1 or 2 mons to truly win games. So we have decided to rank it in the B tier. Only 2 coach remaining. The first one, we have Solaire with his Storm Fang Covenant. Coming up from Shaman, he entertained us with some nice drawings during draft. You can scroll up in the channel and look and try to figure out what Pokemons he drafted if you haven't looked at the screen yet. He drafted 2 teams, in my opinion. A Rain and a Sun team. All with some pretty solid bonds to partner up. In my opinion, you can bring one of these 2 every game. It's either Pelipper, Araquanid, Gyarados, Ampharos, and Fortress for Rain, and Ninetales, Trevenant, and Houndoom for Sun. Crook and Roserade can act in both teams to bring some balance. Fortress especially can shine in the rain with setting up hazards and removing them from his own side of the field, while Roserade can do it in the sun, and Houndoom can use Set Sun to throw out some huge solar power boosted moves. The speed tier might be a bit rough, as the drop from 81 to 65 leaves a big hole for a lot of bulky mons to run more offensive or defensive natures instead of focusing on speed. This team is slightly limited, as bringing both weathers at the same time feels bad, and the water core shares 2 megas, so there might need to be some sacrificing being done. Overall though, this team can work and will be annoying to prep. Both weather options work, and if the opponent prepped the wrong weather, they can easily lose very quickly. But even saying this, we still have decided to rank it in the B tier. At last but not least, we have the Fighting Lando Tease from Red Sox Alex. Our finalist in the last season. I said during power ranking it had potential, and he showed it. And now he has drafted 2 very strong Pokemons in Charizard X and Samurott History. Hazards as an attacking move is incredibly good in this meta, and with Klefki for screen support, the lead can't be easily predicted. The physical side of the team is very strong and should be able to do a lot. Though, here's where we have to talk about the special side. Only having Sinistcha and Gardevoir might get troublesome. Especially looking at the rather bad average special defense as well. This team does not have a good speed tier and might need to rely on Tailwind or other ways to outspeed the game. Having Defog as the only removal in a team who will set spikes turn 1 is also a potential issue. I am honestly not sold on this team yet. Last season, the team had shown some potential, but Taurus, Machamp, and Arbok feel like they could be easily replaced with something else to make this team much better, especially if the season doesn't start well. And because of this, we have decided to put this team into the C tier. Again, this is how the Season 10 Victini teams are ranked, according to us. As a disclaimer, this is our opinion, and we can be wrong, as we saw last season. So please do not take our ranking as an insult or anything. Everyone has a different playstyle, and some might just speak more to us than others. This is where I would show you the week 1 schedule. But we are already in week 2, and by now we will just have to wait 2 days for Victini news. My goal this season is to try and always upload Victini news as the weekly recap on Wednesdays. If something happens and I have no energy to do it, I might push it to Thursday. But I will try to avoid this. As always, thank you for watching, and I hope you all will enjoy Season 10 of the MBA. I wish you all good luck on your week 2 matches, and you will hear from me soon when we return to Victini News. Good day, everyone.